Okay, this is chapter 1.3, transformations of linear and absolute value functions. Alright, and we're talking about horizontal stretches and horizontal shrinks in our core vocabulary this time. We've already talked about vertical stretches and shrinks, but now we're going to talk about horizontals. Alright, a horizontal is a transformation, T-I-O-N, that stretches the graph, that is an R, believe it or not, away from the y-axis. And the same idea, if we can go ahead and do the horizontal shrink, it's the same idea but smaller. It is a transformation that causes the graph, C-A-U-S-E-S, the graph to shrink, that is an S, towards the y-axis. Alright? And those are your horizontal stretches and shrinks. Now, if you remember, now I'll talk about that in a second. Your horizontal stretches and shrinks, these actually occur with your x values, because your x out values can move closer and further away from the y-axis. So let's say I have an absolute value function. Here is your parent function. Nice 45-degree angles away from 0, 0. Alright, a horizontal stretch would move those outwards, like that. This is a stretch by about a factor of 2. And it's like we took every last one of those spots and we stretched it outwards. And the further away you were from the y-axis, the more it got stretched. Kind of like a rubber band. Alright? A horizontal shrink, same idea. If I have an absolute value function, here's the parent function of an absolute value. And I can do better than that. Okay? A horizontal shrink will cause them to scrunch in or compress towards that y-axis. So it's like I took all these x values, like right there, and squished them, stretched them, and shrunk them inwards. If you remember geometry, we called these dilations in geometry, kind of where they stretch inwards and outwards and things along those lines. It's the same idea, but with a horizontal stretch. Remember we talked about yesterday, inside the x is normal, inside the parentheses is x, and normal outside the parentheses is y. Well, horizontal, those affect your x coordinates. Those make them go, left and right, right? So I'm going to find a horizontal stretch or shrink inside those parentheses. In the case of the first one, this horizontal stretch, my parent function was this one, f of x equals absolute value of x. The new one is probably, it looks like it stretches by about a factor of 2. So it's probably going to look like this, 1/2 x. Now, why did I multiply by a half instead of by 2? Because remember, everything inside is backwards. So when it says divide by 2, which multiplying by half is dividing by 2, we are really multiplying all those x values by 2. So if like this one is 1 right there, it became 2. This one up here at 2 became 4. Okay, if we have one at 4 up here, it would stretch out and become 8. Alright? Same idea down here. This is a horizontal shrink, so it's also going to be inside. So if our parent function was f of x equals the absolute value of x. My new function that I did in red would be f of x equals the absolute value of 2x. Now, I know you're thinking again, don't get tripped up by the fact that we're multiplying by 2. Since it is inside the parentheses, remember everything is backwards. If it says multiply, you really divide. Anyways, I can miss that real quick. So there you go.